Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Bright Violet Arts. My name is Valerie Morris, and today I am setting up my bullet journal for the month of March 2023. March is actually my birthday month, so I thought I would celebrate my birthday in my bullet journal with a few new spreads and dedicated sections for celebrating and reflecting on that. So I'm really excited about this month. I love the casual floral art, and I am ready to get into it. This is just a quick peek back at how I started out this journal for the setup, and then January and February of this year. I can't believe I'm halfway through the journal after I finished this March setup. The year is just flying. This is a pastel colored dot grid notepad from Archer and Olive. All right, I'm going to take a slice of this purple paper and add it to the side of my cover page because I'm intending to make this section into a Dutch door a little bit down the line. But for now, I'm going to start in on the cover page illustration, which is made up of whimsical flowers, like a little whimsical flower garden, I think. And I'm just going to sketch those in one at a time, just trying to fill the space in a balanced way, and trying to get a variety of different sorts of flowers, different sorts of leaves. And once I have it all sketched out, I'm going to paint it in with markers, which I know sounds a little crazy, but I'm actually going to use the crown jewel of my stationery collection, which are these guys. These are the Karin Pigment DecoBrush markers. These have a very flexible brush tip, like a Tombow marker, but the ink is actually paint. It's a paint pen. So the way they handle, it feels like a marker, but it will be opaque and it will layer just like paints or a paint pen. I'm also using a few Posca pens for places that I don't want to use a brush tip. So that's typically for outlining. All right, I'm going to get started coloring in the cover page now. And I'm going to paint this in with a lot of different colors. I'm going to try to not put the same color right beside itself. I'm going to try to mix it up. But once I got a base layer of paint down in all the shapes, I started outlining everything with a fine point black Posca pen. And this really defined the shapes for me. I liked that. But I could tell at this point, even though the illustration, I felt like it had good bones, I really liked the drawing and I liked the outline that I was creating, but I just wasn't happy with the way I had painted it. So I decided to take a break and create the Dutch door and kind of think about what direction to take that painting in. So for now, I'm going to add some pretty washi tapes with really fine details on them. I just love those tapes. And I am going to do a little squiggle line here for my Dutch door. And when I cut that out, it makes this pretty wave pattern, but to add a little more interest, I'm going to cut one more section off of the edge of the door, and then I'm going to use that for the page underneath. So here I'm going to glue that down. This is the inside of the Dutch door, and I'm just giving a bit more interest, I guess, to the flap when it opens. So then at this point, I kind of knew what I wanted to do with the painting on the cover page, so I came back to it, and I decided to make everything a lot more glowy and a lot more blended, not so many hard edges as I had in the first version. And I really liked this much better. And I also think it shows off the capability of those Karin markers, because the color blends that you get, that's the kind of thing that I always think that's only achievable with paint and a paintbrush. But I was able to get those results like I was painting on canvas just right here in my bullet journal with these markers. And that's why they're my very favorite markers ever. I don't like to use them all the time. I like to think of it as a treat to get to use these because they are pricey, of course, and it is something that I like to reserve for professional projects or for special events in a bullet journal, I think. But you know what? My birthday qualifies. This is my birthday month and it's my party, so I'm using the Karin DecoBrush. Now, with all the fun I was having with the flower garden, I kind of forgot to leave space for a title. So I am putting the name of the month here on the Dutch door flap, but it ended up looking so cute there. I'm kind of glad it was, kind of a happy accident that it ended up there. but I just went with black and white to give it a little contrast on the purple. And that is how the final cover page came out. I was so happy with it. The space on the inside flap of the Dutch door is for my calendar spread. And I'm using a Zig Clean Color Dot marker to make these little purple circles to write the date in. For the title, I'm using some fauxligraphy, which is basically just the process of writing the word out in bounce letters or in cursive, and then adding a thickening line to your downstrokes on every letter. And that kind of gives the look of brush lettering. And back over to the left side of the spread where the Dutch door flap reveals part of the cover page below it, I'm drawing in the matching half of the visible cover page so that it looks like complete flowers there. And that way when the door is open like this, it's a seamless look to the cover page. So the next spread up is a really fun idea, I think. I have rescued this little florist size envelope and card from the Christmas wrapping at my home after the festivities, and I thought that would be perfect in a bullet journal. So my thought is to do a birthday wish. So I'm gonna just do this lettering here to write in happy 44th birthday, and then below that I am decorating the envelope and the card with the DecoBrush pens. With the same style of flowers as I had on the cover page, of course. And the idea is that I'm going to use the card to write down my birthday wish on the actual day of my birthday, which is, of course, the only time that one is entitled to such a wish. And, of course, that wish will be personal to me, so I'm going to want it to not be visible right away when someone might flip through the journal. So I'm going to seal it up in that envelope and just use some removable tape so that I can still open it when I want to, but it won't be just obvious on a flip through. The opposite side of the spread is for my tasks and my habits for this month, and I have just used that purple dot grid paper again to stamp out my habit tracker calendars, and I'm using a corner rounding tool to soften up the edges. And I'm still using those Karin markers to highlight. I will write my tasks directly on top of that paint pen. And I'll just finish decorating that as cute as I possibly can. And we're good to go with tasks and habits. So here's how it all turned out in the end. This might be my favorite spread of the month. I'm looking forward to filling out my birthday wish and sealing it up in there. So now it's time to get into the weekly spreads for March. And for the first week, it just has a few days. And because of that, I have extra space on my weekly spread, and I'm going to use that for a quote page on the left-hand side. I went with a whole sheet of the purple paper for this because I wanted to do something that provided a little bit of contrast with all of the painted flowers that I'm using on the other pages. So I just went with some black and white doodles, still botanical, so they're still related, but they have a different look to them on that purple paper. So it's just for some contrast, I guess is all I'm trying to say. And on the opposite side, I am working on a column here with a color gradient, and this is a section I'm calling In a Word. It's the first time I've ever tried this. I just thought it would be fun. So I am going to have a space for every day of the month, and I'm going to try to describe that day in one word. So it's going to be, usually an adjective, like it might be lucky, or it could be rainy, or it could be sleepy, or, something like that. So it's probably going to refer to like my mood or the weather or some sort of circumstance. But I think it'll be a fun challenge to try to sum up the whole day in one word and just see what those words look like at the end of the month. We'll see if it's a good one or not. I'll let you guys know how I like it. For the second weekly spread, I am just filling up the blank space with some casual doodles that look like they could be in that same garden from my cover page. And once everything is blended, of course, I'm going to come back in and do my black outline work, which for me, that's where everything really gets defined and starts to come to life. I feel like that's just the finishing element for a lot of the artwork that I do, but especially doodles like this that have kind of ambiguous shapes. I think they need that black outline to give more identity, to what the shape is supposed to look like. And I love this little aqua colored flower here at the end. This had so much personality. I think it was my favorite flower from the whole month. And here is week 2, all finished. For week 3, I'm doing another birthday related element here because this is actually my birthday week. So I am writing out here how I spent my 44th, and I'm gonna leave some lines at the bottom for me to fill in just whatever I do that day on my actual birthday. That'll make for some nice memory keeping. And that is the finished week 3. Moving on to week 4. On this one, on the daily boxes, I have little half flowers kind of peeking out from the top of the boxes. And I'm finishing off that spread with more purple paper and washi tape along the bottom. I went with a lot of washi tape on this one just to give it some shine and some fun texture. My week 5 spread for March is getting started with kind of an optimistic quote about moving forward. I think after a birthday, it's a brand new year, so I just want to enjoy the journey. So I reminded myself of that right here. And just like in the quote page I did for week 1, I'm going to stick to some black and white doodles to fill up the rest of the purple paper. This is another spread where there was only a partial week since it's the last week of the month, and I had an extra space on the left side that I could fill with an illustration. So I really enjoyed this like turquoise blue purple flower. It was fun to blend all that. Which is the best part of using the Karin markers, is being able to blend, I think. So here I've got a space for my wins, or my successes for the month, my playlist, and a current events section I call In the News. And that's going to do it for the week 5 spread. So let's do a quick flip through of all the March pages. I love this month so much. It's one of my favorites that I've ever done. In the description box, I've listed as many products as I can. Of course, today they included the Karin Pigment DecoBrush markers, and I used a number of Archer and Olive products, my journal, as well as the dot grid ruler and the purple paper from the Rainbow Notepad. So if you want to make an Archer and Olive purchase, you can always use my discount code for 10% off at checkout. It's Bright Violet Arts 10. That will also be in the description. And if you made it this far into the video, go ahead and leave me a flower emoji in the comments. That would be awesome. And if you enjoyed the video today, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already. And you can also find me over on Instagram at Bright Violet Arts. Thanks again for hanging out with me today, and thanks for checking out Bright Violet Arts.